morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2022 Porsche Carrera Cup North America second season, presented by visitcayman.com. John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw with you outside of turn 17 at Sebring International Raceway. Our first race of two this weekend, and the first race of the weekend for the 70th running of the Mobile 112 Hours of Sebring. We are in the Highlands region of Central Florida, 17 corners with names like Le Mans and Bishop and Jean de Bian and Gurney and Collier and Fangio. That tells you all you need to know about the historic nature of this former World War II training base that was turned into the spiritual home of endurance and indeed Formula One here or Grand Prix racing at least, in the United States of America. The very first US Grand Prix here. Action areas at turn 1 and turn 7 down at the hairpin, and turn 17 is an opportunity as well to do a little bit of passing. Huge feed, first of all, Jeremy Shaw. We should say congratulations to IMSA and to Porsche Cars North America as the cars are rolling out of the pit lane. Let's take a look at the top runners and riders in 3 classes, all 992s this year, Jeremy.
Yeah, none of the 991s are eligible this year, so everybody in 992s. There are 3 classes, however, based upon driver age experience in actual fact. The pros are under 35, the pro-ams are between 35 and 56, and the ams are been around a little bit longer than 56 years on this planet. In the AM class, Mark Kawami is on the pole position, 21st overall in a brand new team that he has set up, MDK Motorsports, car number 43 beside him on the pole in the AM class. Second in AM is John Goetz for Wright Motorsports in car number 57. Third in qualifying, Bob Mueller from California, making his debut at this level in the Octavio Tequila Racing car number 28. In Pro-Am, it's last year's champion Efrain Castro, originally from the Dominican Republic, will start on the pole position in car number 65 for Kelly Moss Road and Race in the 14th position overall. Second in Pro-Am in qualifying, a debutant Peter Atwater from Colorado for JDX Racing, car number 26, and third is the guy who pushed Efrain Castro and led the championship most of the way, only to lose out right at the final hurdle, car number 99, third position in the class in qualifying for Kelly Moss. That's Alan Metney. The top 5 overall, let's say the top 10. I think we've got time for the top 10 overall in qualifying for Kelly Moss. In car number for number 7 is Michael McCarthy. Car number 58, TJ Fisher for Top Racing will start in the 9th position. Row 4, another debutant, Varun Choksi for Wright Motorsports in car number 13, alongside Michael McCann in the McCann Racing car number 8. He's doing double duty today in the Michelin Pilot Challenge as well. For 311 RS Motorsport, car number 12, Lee Keane, will start in the 6th position, alongside Trenton Estep, a former GT3 Cup champion, returning to Porsche competition for MDK Motorsports, again a brand new team. In car number 6, he will start 5th. Row 2, a remarkable performance once again for 311 RS Motorsports this year, though. In car number 4, Dimitri Demarcos, making his debut in the top category, having made just 1 start last year, was absolutely stellar in a 991 car. In the 3rd position on the grid, Parker Thompson from Canada for JDX Racing in car number 9. And the front row of the grid, well, once again, it's all Kelly Moss Road and Race. Riley Dickinson will start 2nd in car number 53, and a young man originally from the Netherlands, now based in Florida, attending university there, is the guy who finished 2nd in the championship last year in car number 3, carrying the Children's Hospital of Alabama colours. It's his 2nd pole position. He had, 3rd pole position. He had 2 last year. On the pole position, though, for the opening race of the season is Kai van Berlo.
Yeah, the man who was teammate to the champion last year, Sebastian Priaulx, who's moved up, and we'll see him later in the weekend. It's an overcast morning. There was a little bit of early fog here, but no better way to set your alarm to get cracking than the wonderful noise of flat 6 4-litre normally aspirated engines. This is the 2nd season of the 992 in Carrera Cup competition around the world, and the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, one of only 5 championships to get the car in its debut year. Just over 20 of them last year, and as Jeremy has just told you, 43 cars on the grid in 3 separate classes, with the silver markings on the Pro cars, the blue markings on the Pro-Am, and the yellow markings on the AM cars. The lights are off on the Porsche 911 Turbo safety car. Thought we might have seen the new 992 safety car leading them around. We have 2 of those here this weekend for the FIA WEC, who'll be racing on Friday before the headline event on Saturday, the 70th running of the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, and Porsche and Mobil celebrating their partnership as well this year. Stunning sight, half the length of the Ullman Straight, 2x2 formation. Porsches coming down. Jeremy Shaw crosses his fingers. The guys in the parts trucks are flexing their fingers on the computer terminals just in case. The 2 Kelly Moss cars running in the white and green at the front of the field through the notoriously bumpy turn 17, coming towards the first green flag for Porsche Carrera Cup North America for 2022, presented by Visit CaymanIsland.com. And it is green, and we are racing, and Kai van Berlo gets the jump on his teammate Riley Dickinson. Little bit more ragged behind, through in the number 9. That's Parker Thompson trying to get down the inside at turn 1 in the shell-coloured car. Has to drop back into line. He's still there, 3/4 of the way up the second place car. There's a little bit of bump there. Maybe just a little bit of hip and shoulder, and Dickinson has to give best. Good driving, sensible driving, aggressive driving by both drivers, Jeremy, but I think that's fine on the first lap.
Absolutely superb, really impressed by both of them there. And going into the first corner there, Parker Thompson was in a position maybe to kind of lunge down the inside. He backed out of it, followed Riley Dickinson through in the 3rd position, 2nd and 3rd, and then made the move to the inside in turn 3. Excellent driving by both of those 2. It is Kai van Berlo, though, who leads from the pole position.
Watch out for the 311 RS Motorsport number 11 car. This is Dimitri Dimakos. We saw him in a 991 car last year.
Wow.
And the battle for the lead is heating up already on the far side of the circuit. Past the campgrounds, which are absolutely packed already this year. Down towards Tower Turn with the still active airfield on the driver's left. Oh, mistake from Dickinson, and he's taken the rubber front splitter off the car. That's his race done. He is going to drop back through the field. He's going to completely ruin his front Michelin tyres. It's only a little, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches, but it is essential to the airflow at the front of the car. And that's Dickinson making a tiny error that is going to have, Jeremy Shaw, huge implications for this race.
Yeah, more than likely, and all sorts of shuffling positions down at the hairpin. There was some shuffling as well, some people running off the road there, people there taking evasive action.
That's the number 97.
It is, that's Craig Conway in number 97 car. He had a problem yesterday in qualifying. The no fuel pressure on that car, so didn't get any laps in. A little further around at turn 12, Riley Dickinson running way wide. Also, Dimitri Dimakos did the same thing a couple of positions farther back, so he's lost a couple more positions, Dimakos. So talking to him yesterday, he has very little experience racing at this sort of level, so yeah, he was going to be taking things a little bit easy, but he's now pushing hard and trying to make one of those positions back again.
That's black number 11 down to 7th position. Yeah. Dimakos was a little more sideways, Jeremy, and I think that saved his front bump. Peter Atwater's off the 26 car. 4-way flash is going. He's facing in the wrong direction on the outside of turn 1. That's a scary place to be. Now, can he get the flat 6 re-fired and back underway? If not, we're going to have the first appearance of the safety car. Yes, he can. Excellent. You saw the blue crosses on the front of the headlights there. That shows that he is in the blue class being the Pro-Ams. So that's another way that you can decipher which driver is in which class.
Yeah, Peter Atwater, he'd taken the lead of the Pro-Am class on that first lap in that car number 26 for JDX Racing before he had that spin at turn 1. To have a spin at turn 1, to be able to continue without any apparent contact with anything else says a lot, either for your skill and or your level of luck going to this weekend. So he got away with that one, and he's going to be able to rejoin. He'll be right at the back of the field now, but it was a great start by Peter Atwater, this is a big step from it for him. He's another debutant in the Porsche category with IMSA this weekend, but he has raced in IMSA in the past in some Mazda MX-5, but a big step from a Mazda to a 992 Porsche.
Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh then for the first Porsche Carrera Cup North America, powered by Visit CaymanIslands.com race of the year. Lee Keane in the red 311 RS Motorsport car. That's the number 12, sitting in 5th position. And battling, as we've seen in the past, Jeremy, right at the sharp end of the field. He's the head of the second group at the moment. The lead is through turn 1. Insanely quick turn in there. And then the big oscillations on the exits. Oh, the leader gets a little bit sideways into Christensen corner. Gets a little bit of help from Parker Thompson. It hasn't helped Thompson's cause at all. He's dropped 3 or 4 car lengths back as he goes under the Corvette drive-over bridge through Big Bend and down towards the heavy braking area in front of the 7 Hotel at turn 7. Let's see already just how bumpy it is with the marks on the track where the Michelin tyres from the other series that have been racing this week are already there. Yeah, there was definitely a little bit of contact by Parker Thompson, who went up on the curb with the left front Michelin there. And that's dropped him back into the clutches of Dickinson. You know what? I'm very impressed with Riley Dickinson. I thought his race would be run, and yet he's keeping the pace up for now. But what is that loss of that front aerodynamic device going to do to his front tyre wear, Jeremy?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as the race progresses. Talking to some of these guys just a few moments ago before the start, it's relatively cool this morning. It was still there's still cloud cover when I was chatting to them, and now the sun has broken through. It's going to get warmer and warmer as the day goes on. Tyre management is certainly going to be an issue. Most of the cars in this race are starting on scrubbed tyres from qualifying yesterday. Many of them used 2 sets yesterday in the qualifying session. They have 3 sets from the beginning of qualifying to see them through also the rest of the 2 races as well. Some of them elected to just use 1 set in qualifying and then have 2 fresh sets for the race. The majority, including the pole sitter, are running a scrubbed set this morning and then new for this afternoon. But tyre management, particularly this afternoon, John, when it's going to be much warmer, is going to be very critical.
Still a little bit of overcast here, and this race circuit is extremely sensitive to how much energy from sunlight is going into it, how much heat energy is going into it. Through turn 1 again, Lee Keane just losing the front end of the number 12 for a moment, the 311 RS Motorsport car. And in behind him, it's DeMarcos. Great scrap going down in the Pro-Am field with the blue markings and the blue headlights. We've got the leader, Efren Castro, has got away a bit, but then Matt Holgram, Alan Metney, Pedro Torres, Justin Oakes in the 55, number 99, 16 and 47 are having a cracking scrap.
Yeah.
In fact, Castro's only 2 cars ahead of them as well, side by side. And that's AM leader, is it? Coming through. Yeah, that's a tremendous run.
Yeah, Mark Kwame there, but right behind Mark is John Goetz in the Wright Motorsports car number 57. So he's having a really good run there as well. Both of those two, they started a few positions apart on the grid. There were 3 cars in between them on the grid, but they're together right now. And John Goetz is really pushing hard in that number 57 car. Good way to wake up to a very busy
Thursday morning, which will go on till after 9 o'clock tonight local time, with the nighttime practice for the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
And John Goetz, a really interesting character. He's Economy 57. He's from Western Connecticut, up not too far from Lime Rock Park, but he's carrying what he calls reverse sponsorship on his car. He's carrying the logos of Mercy Ships that provide medical services on mainly to Africa on board ships. Look at this great batingo here. Also MedSend and Bowery Mission, all of which are charitable causes, and he's carrying those colours on his car. Great story.
3 across the track coming into turn 17, and the car that was trying, on the driver rather, that was trying to benefit in the bright green and black number 81, trying to get through, and got at least one position there, and that's the ACI Motorsports Grant Torquay from Sarasota, so not too far to come. He's dropped back to the back of that group. Yeah,
well, Dimitri Demarkov saying in that the deluxe car number 11, he'd fallen back a few positions, just got back past Grant Torquay, who's now gone wide there at the carousel. So Dimitri Demarkov had a really eventful race so far in that beautiful looking deluxe 311 RS car number 11.
So used to seeing the 311 RS cars just in red, and that is still Lee Keen's car. So the debut for Dimitri in the 992 category, he turned out and was superb at the end of last season. It was meant to be a one-off, and I think I remember seeing in commentary that he was giving it a try, and
it was going to be a one-off.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I think we said, Jeremy, at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, come on, this can't be a one-off. We want to see what he can do in a 992. And my goodness, his qualifying yesterday was superb.
Absolutely magnificent. I mean, as soon as the 311 RS guys, they saw his performance there, and they contacted him right away. And he himself, Dimitri, was planning on a kind of a real estate career. He's got a master's degree, not chasing a master's degree in that, and he wasn't going to be racing on a full-time basis. 23 years of age, from Chicago, Illinois. His family originates from Greece, but he's very much American. But the 311 RS team got together, made some sponsorships happen, and have put him in the car this weekend. And boy, what a job he is doing. You know, he knows his racecraft isn't as good as these other guys, so he knew the race was going to be a bit of a struggle, as it has been. But he's fast.
Debris or that slippery surface flag, something on the track that shouldn't be at turn 17. You don't need anything else to distract you around there. It's such a committed corner. Dimitri at the moment with right behind the number 13, Wright Motorsports, Varun Choksi sitting right there. And then it's Torquay in behind that. A couple of moments ago at the far side of the circuit, number 22 dropping wheels onto the dirt, and very, very lucky indeed for Carlos de Quesada that he didn't lose his front splitter, as he went off at exactly the same place as Riley Dickinson did earlier on, who's just beginning to drop away a tiny bit at the front of the field. That might give a little bit of hope for Trenton Estep to get on the third step of the box. He's got about 3 seconds on Lee Keen, who's got a couple on McGann, then McCarthy is another second back rather, then Dimitri Demarkos, then that's the little battle, 8th, 9th and 10th at the moment. Demarkos, Choksi and Torquay. Oh, huge lip up. Lock up there, down to turn 7. That is the number 58 car, the Apex machine. And that
TJ Fisher.
Yeah, that was an unusual mistake from TJ. He's not going to do his front Michelin's any good indeed, and he's way off the track, and that's because somebody's going very slowly indeed. Has dropped to the back of the pack.
I think he's got a problem actually, TJ. He's been dropping back. He qualified inside the top 10. He was running 15th. He came past the line. I think he might be dropping back now. Yeah, he is. He's slowed, I think, coming out of the carousel. So he's had some problems there with that car. Meanwhile, a new fastest lap of the race last time around by the second place car. That is Parker Thompson. Just 0.3 of a second between himself and Kai van Berlo out front. There's the mystery machine a little farther back. Car number 55 running in the... where is he?
Pro-Am category, isn't he? He's second in class at the moment, Matt Holcomb. He's just ahead of Alan Metney and a little group of cars that
is it? Well, he was behind him last time around. He was fourth in the class last time.
Right,
so
okay.
But as you say, it's a great battle going on there for those minor positions. Efren Castro is edged away in the lead of Pro-Am, as now has our race leader Kai van Berling's extended his lead. He's reset fastest lap on that last time around, a 2 minutes 3.767 for the young Dutchman. Edged out just a little bit now over Parker Thompson in second place.
Yeah, I think the car that was going slowly, more debris flags out down at turn 7 as well. It is the 58 car that's going slow, so there is some problem there. Now that looks like left rear with an issue, maybe rubbing front right. So I couldn't have been more wrong. There's been contact there because the right door mirror has gone as well. So has that? I think when he's flat spotted that, he's then caused himself a puncture, Jeremy.
Yeah.
It wasn't
and that's
contact.
odd because these cars do they have ABS? These cars?
Yes, they do.
ABS.
Yeah, they do.
So
it's a selection. It's a selection. It's a tick box for the whole series. The series has to decide. So flat spot there. The Michelin has been tortured too much, and when it has given up the ghost, it's taken out the right-hand door mirror for that Apex car. Number 9 then, Riley Dickinson going onto the back straight. Top 3 pretty equidistant in terms of the gaps between them. 7/10 and 7/10. So Van Berlo starting the season, I'm sure, the way he means to go on. Riley Dickinson with that power move early in the race to get second position away from Dickinson. Dickinson's been over the curbs and lost his front splitter. Still the battle going on further down the field. And that's in fact, the 81, the Torquay car, has taken a position up to 9th now. So that will reflect as they go across the line. As that's Chucksy, I think, behind him now. Yes, it is. Very, very bumpy indeed here on this historic tarmac and concrete. Bumpy enough at turn 17 to get wheels off the ground. 3-wheeling it, maybe only 2-wheeling it for the leader.
Even one now, maybe.
Left rear, I think, was still in. It was like a snooker player leaning over the table and just having the left toe on the ground there for Kai van Berlo. Still a great battle going on for the minor positions in the top 10. Through the leaders have gone. 24 minutes still to go.
There is that battle then with Grant Torquay dicing away with Varun Choksey. They exchanged positions on the lap, as John was saying, for 9th and 10th positions. Battles all the way up and down this field, a tremendous field of cars, and they are all 42 of the 43 cars are still running. TJ Fisher, as we saw, came into the pit lane, so I think his race is going to be over. Clearly a problem there with that car. But in 4th position, Trenton Estep. He was the GT3 Cup champion in 2018. Had 6 wins, 2 poles during his first career, if you like, in GT3 Cup. He's been kind of in and out of racing since then, but he's been befriended by Mark Kawami, who's given him this fabulous opportunity to drive in the Porsche Carrera Cup with this brand new team. They've actually taken over the old Meyer Shank racing shop in the outskirts of Columbus. That's where Mark Kawami is from. Will Bamber, very experienced race engineer, has been installed as team manager and race engineer.
Not a bad driver, actually.
Yeah, true. Brother of Earl Bamber, a
Porsche factory driver, Earl, of course.
Efren Castro then in the 12th position, car number 65.
New colour scheme for Efren with the black and the
very smart
pink on the side of the 65 car, leading in Pro-Am. all the battles in that category going on behind him. It's another Kelly Moss machine. They are the pre-eminent team in terms of entries. They've really done a cracking job of recruiting drivers this year. So Castro just outside the top 10. And in that Pro-Am category, it is a championship category of its own. Then the great battle behind Alan Metney leading that category, leading the second charge, should I say. And in the Am class, the best of them is Mark Kwame in that number 43 car, the Drive Capital MDK car. Notice the yellow, if you hear at the track, yellow end plates on the rear spoiler, yellow on the door mirrors, and even yellow lights on some of the cars as well. The yellow cross to give the 4-day notice LEDs the look of a yellow. Attention to detail, which you'd expect in a Porsche series. Castro then at the moment controlling the Pro-Am field. And basically, Jeremy, Efren Castro, starting this season where he left off last year, had what we thought was an outside chance of the championship going into the final rounds at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. And he turned that to his advantage with a little help from the man that he was chasing, Alan Metney, with a weekend to forget for the man who was in the last year, the number 99 car.
That's exactly right, and he led the championship all the way through the season, did Alan Metney. He elected, however, to skip one of the races in Indianapolis.
Yes, that's right.
And that ultimately ended up costing him, but more costly was the 2 errors he made in that final weekend of the season. Certainly, if he had contested that race of Indianapolis, he would have won the championship, but he didn't. So he didn't. But it was a brilliant effort by Efren Castro, who won the final 4 races of the year in the Pro-Am class to clinch that championship. So it certainly was well deserved by either would have been a deserving champion, but Castro really stepped up his game towards the end of that season. And he is another guy who's pulling double duty this weekend. He's going to be driving, as he did at the Rolex 24 at Daytona, in the WeatherTech Championship race later this weekend, the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring.
70th running of the 12 Hours, marking the first 2 events of the IMSA Carrera's 36 hours of racing here in Florida. 20 minutes down, just under 20 minutes to go. Second half of the race. If you're new to Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Visit CaymanIslands.com, then we need to let you know that the second half of the race can get very interesting, because the drivers, and there's a lot more to adjust on these new cars, and the teams got used to it last year, particularly aerodynamically, but getting the balance right between pushing at the beginning and having tyres left at the end. 40 minutes, 45 minutes, round about a stint of an endurance race. And some of these drivers, particularly in the pro classes, like Kai van Berlo, who leads by 1.5 seconds now from Thompson in second, and then Riley Dickinson another 7/10 back in third. Their sights are firmly set on being in the big show at some stage.
Yeah, and it was on the last lap, but the previous lap, Kai van Berlo reset fastest lap of the race again, and 2 minutes 3.52. He's extended his lead now by to a 1.5 seconds over Parker Thompson, but Riley Dickinson against the odds is hanging there in the 3rd position. There's a move, look to the inside for Alan Metney. Right behind Justin Oakes, who's last year's Trans Am SGT, I think it was, championship that he won. That was his first season of racing.
47 Northern Sport car,
and what a very distinctive car.
Well, Justin's fought his way back through the field, hasn't he? Because the last time I looked, he was sitting at the back of that group, and he's fought his way through. Or has Alan Metney come back towards him? That's the question. This is the battle in.
Well, actually, they've moved up together, because they completed the first lap in the 18th and 19th positions, and are now, where are those two? They are in the 15th and 16th, so they made up several positions. But it's a great colour scheme on Justin Oakes' car, designed by his wife, who designs everything that Justin is is involved in. His suits, his helmet, which arrived yesterday. Actually, the brand new suit didn't arrive in time, but he'll have that for the next rounds at Long Beach. But that car is very, very distinctive. It's kind of a, I don't know how to describe it, but multicolored is perhaps the easiest way.
Well, the good thing is you could say either whatever his suit is, whatever colour you pick, it would match with it, or
that's true.
It would clash with it. It depends which way you look at that. Leaders going through, and it's still Van Berlo, but the battle for second place. Riley Dickinson has ignored the laws of physics. Now, I'm looking at the front of that car. I think Dickinson's still got his splitter. So was that not Dickinson's splitter that's gone awry? I'm having a really close look at the front end of that car. I would have... No, he has lost it. I was going to say it. Yeah, you can... As he goes through turn 5 and 6, down towards the hairpin at turn 7 in front of the hotel, there's definitely a bigger gap on the front end, and that rubber strip that we saw lying by the side of the road at turn 12 at Tata Turn, that has gone. And that will cost him. And in fact, as soon as he closed up to Parker Thompson in the faster parts of the track, the more twisty parts of the track as well, he's struggling for front end grip. About to go a lap down on the leader, Craig Conway, who had that spin at turn 1 and then took a while refiring the 4-litre flat 6. He's gone a lap down to the leader, and the second and third place car have just gone through. Bright green car in behind, number 97 with the blue numbers, not in that fight. 15.5 minutes to go. Van Berlo by 2 seconds, and the fight is on for second place. Jeremy, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this season with these 3 young Chargers.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. I mean, they're all really talented drivers. Kai Van Berlo, just 21 years of age. Parker Thompson, he's the veteran at 24. And Riley Dickinson, still not 20 years old, still 19. He'll be 20 in the middle of May. But a great battle it is for second place between Parker Thompson and Riley Dickinson, who looks to the inside at turn 17, realizes he's not close enough to press that issue. But Kai Van Berlo, super consistent at the front of the field. I talked to him just maybe 20 minutes before the start of the race. I said, yeah, what's the key to today, Kai? And he said, consistency. That's what we're seeing right now. Consistent laps in the low to mid 2-minute 3-second range, and he's extended that advantage now to almost 2.5 seconds as a complete lap 12.
Yeah, and timing just taking a moment to catch back up again. 14.5 minutes to go. Just checking the other leaders in class. It's still Efren Castro knocking on the door of the top 10 at P12 at the moment, and he's just done his fastest lap in the race in the number 65, that black, pink and white car. He's got a couple of cars, Travis Riley and Sean Varig, behind him that aren't in his class. That gives him cover over Alan Metney and Justin Oakes. Metney back in front of Justin Oakes again. They're trading places for second and third. The 2 other steps on the podium of Pro-Am. Jeff Mosing for Top Racing's another 2 seconds further back in Am. Mark Kawame for MDK Motorsports leads in P20. John Goetz in second for Wright Motorsports. So they've got Pedro Torres between them. That's one of the Pro-Am drivers. Who's third? That's Bob Mueller for Octavio Tequila Racing in the 27th spot in the 28 car. So those are your top 3 in each of the classes, and that battle for second and third in Pro-Am, the GT Silver number 99. Nice to see that Alan's kept last year's number. That makes life a little bit easier for me. Jeremy and I just talking about
and
trying to taking in new information. For a moment.
The colour too, isn't
yes, yeah, absolutely.
Unchanged.
Here comes the leader to complete another lap. All green so far. 13 minutes to go in the season opener of the 2022 Porsche Carrera Cup North America. presented by Visit Cayman Islands.
The last 4 laps for our race leader, Kai van Berlo. 2 minutes 3.79, 2 minutes 3.88, 2 minutes 3.97, 2 minutes 3.90. So all within, well, just over a tenth of a second of each of those last 4 laps. Around this, this racetrack here, which is 3.74 miles, to be that consistent is very, very impressive. The 21-year-old doing a super job at the front, but Parker Thompson, he's having to push hard to stay ahead of Riley Dickinson. He's just had a personal best in sector 1, which is basically just turn 1 before you get from turn 1 before you get to turn 3 is the first sector here, so a short sector.
Decent little battle going on in the middle of the top 10, and Dimitri DeMarcos is involved with that, trying to close down the number 8 of Michael McCann for McCann Racing. Now, confusingly, Michael McCarthy's ahead of them in the 7th, in the number 7 car, which is in 6th. The number 8 car is in 7th, and the 11th car is in 8th. So that's scrambling my brain at the moment. The silver and red number 8 then in 7th position, with DeMarcos in that black car sitting in behind the number 11, black with the red cross on the hood and the red markings on the rear 3/4 through to the Jean de Bian bend. Sweeping corners, very quick, have to have a nicely balanced car through there. Braking and turning at the same time. It's what racing cars don't normally like to do. I think they're being closed down a little bit as well. Grant Torquay coming back at them. Yeah. As I said before at half distance, Jeremy, it is amazing to see what happens in the last 8 to 10 minutes here, because we can see people who have saved a bit of performance in their Michelin tyres make quite striking moves in the last 4 or 5 laps. Other people who perhaps have worked their Michelin rubber a wee bit too hard find that they can't keep the same pace as they had earlier on. The cars are getting lighter, of course, so that helps. Yeah,
as they burn off fuel, that's absolutely correct. But Kai van Berlo, again, last time around, 2 minutes 3.865. Again, super consistent. By contrast, the 2nd and 3rd place cars, they fell back by a bit over half a second in relative to the race leader last time around. But in the meantime, for 7th position, 7th and 8th, Michael McCann trying to hold off Dimitri DeMarcos in that caliber 11 deluxe car. Got super sideways coming through the carousel. That's lost him quite a bit of ground.
And here comes the green and black car. Yeah. I said it was closing them down, and Grant Torquay is right there. He goes to the left, goes to the right, goes back to the left again. It's like the green cross code, never mind the green car. Left, right again, down towards the hairpin at turn 7. And in behind Grant Torquay, that's Varun Juxi for Wright Motorsports.
Yeah, he's closed in again, you're right.
So those 3 now battling for what is position number 8 overall and in the pro category. And that's given a little bit of breathing room to Michael McCarthy. He's 5 seconds behind Lee Keane, who's having a lonely race at the moment in the red 311 RS Motorsport car, the number 12, which is in 5th.
Actually, yeah, but the last couple of laps on Lee Keane's actually closed in a little bit on Trenton S-Step, so that could be a battle worth watching. But that move there by Dimitri DeMarcos coming down towards turn 7, a little bit dodgy there. I'm sure the race director, Randy Buckleby, he and the stewards will be having a look at that, because he did seem to move more than once, didn't he?
Yeah, they don't like moving in the braking area as well. Don't like moving in reaction to anything. Pick your line and stick to it. Let's head back to the front of the field, where the leader has crossed the line with just under 9 minutes to go, and Parker Thompson now in the Shell top-up car, the JDX machine, as they fall now some 4 seconds behind the leader, and Riley Dickinson has found 2nd, 3rd, 4th wind here. No, he's back there.
It's Parker that's struggling in car number 9. He's slipping back because Kai van Berlo, his last lap, the last 2 laps, 1/1000th of a second apart. 2 minutes 3.865, 2 minutes 3.864. Fabulous. Parker Thompson, however, he's slipping back now by about 3/4 of a second of a lap each of the last 2 laps. The gap between 1st and 2nd now, that's Vernon McClure off the road in car number 10, the Main Street Homes Porsche. But yeah, Riley Dickinson clearly has a faster car at this stage in the race than Parker Thompson. That's one thing, however. Now he's got to try and find a way past. That's going to be a little bit more difficult.
I'm astounded that without that And by the way, that was at turn 13 for Vernon McClure. So the lead, the battle for second, just coming round to that area of the circuit now. I'm astounded that Dickinson's been able to keep up that pace. John Guts just having a look down the inside of the two multicoloured but mainly blue cars, and right in behind there is the pink number 44, and that is Moise Uretsky, the Accelerating Performance Pro-Am car. He's in 7th position in that class, and another good little gaggle of Porsches, all finding people to race. Not necessarily all in the same class. Again, the identifiers of the door mirror, headlights and wing end plates, rear wing end plate colours. So blue is Pro-Am, yellow is Am, and John Coates right in the middle of that Pro-Am battle. Parker Thompson has weathered the storm for the time being. 7 minutes under. Oh yeah, he's really struggling for grip. He's the one struggling for grip. That's surprising. He turned in there and the car was very recalcitrant indeed going into turn 17. Meantime, further back, Dimitri DeMarcos is under pressure. Still that battle going on. Ahead of DeMarcos is the number 8 of Michael McCann and the McCann racing car, but it's behind where the pressure is at the moment, and there's going to be another car join on to the back of that. I think, is that Travis Wiley that's coming in, or is that Hutton McKenna that's coming in?
Way back. I think it might have been a lap car.
It is a lap car, Jeremy, you're absolutely right. My apologies. Yeah, that was, it was Craig, wasn't it, who spun earlier on. Great run by Uretsky and John Goetz, and Uretsky having a little bit of a look and forcing John Goetz to lock up, leaving his braking too late into turn 16. Whoa, and John going a wee bit long and exit stage left.
There's no ABS there. That's a problem. And yeah, John Goetz, I think he's lost a whole bunch of position today. Still second as he comes across to complete that lap, as we see Justin Oakes and Alan Metley continuing their battle for what is 15th and 16th positions overall, but second and third in the Pro-Am class. So it's been a really fine effort by Justin Oakes, who's just got past Alan Metley. Indeed, you talked about those two a little while ago, having exchanged positions several times. They do so again as Metley dives down the inside there at turn 7, but he runs wide, and Oakes back again on the exit. For Justin Oakes here, this is just his second season of racing. His first was last year when he came away with the championship in the Trans Am SGT category, but now stepping into the Porsches, and he is really doing an excellent job in that car number 47. He is driving really nicely indeed. He's never driven a Porsche before, but he's taken it to it very, very quickly. He's a TV commercial producer by trade, and it's really the pandemic that allowed him to spend more time at home, that got him focused on his racing career. And his wife Elaine Lozano, she has her own her own company, marketing company, which is populated primarily by women, and they've done all the design work for Justin on that number 47 car, run by the NOLA Sport team.
And are they from NOLA as well?
From Houston, actually.
Oh, right, okay. Because I think of that, of course, of the New Orleans area when you say that.
Yeah, that's where the team is based.
So down into the last 3.5 minutes, Jeremy, and Van Berlo has cleared out now. The interest will be whether Parker Thompson and Riley Dickinson swap places there. Trenton Estep has been closed down on, as you rightly mentioned. It's now just on a second between Estep and Keane for 4th and 5th. Trenton Estep and Lee Keane. I'm absolutely astounded at Riley Dickinson. I know we've mentioned this a lot, but we've seen it in the past with the 991.2s and the 992s, that when that rubber bottom part of the front splitter goes missing, it's a real problem. Dickinson's got a great run out to 16, side by side on the Ullman straight. Who's the last of the lip breakers into turn 17? Can he make it happen? No, that was the leader going through on a slower car. Almost identical, those two Kelly Moss cars. So that was the leader going through. Now we see the second and third place cars coming out of turn 17. Looked like it was lapped car, the number 80 in the Pro-Am, that was going a lap down there. Two more laps, Jeremy, do you reckon, as the leader's gone through? This one and one more? White flag next time around?
Yeah, white flag next time around, it's exactly right. So it'll be a 20-lap race, and Parker Thompson is continuing to struggle here. But actually, that was the best lap he's had, I think, in a while. 2:04.1 last time around, a half a second away from his fastest lap of the race. A little bit further back across the line and into turn one. That super four-car battle for the seventh position on backwards, with Michael McCann still leading that group. Dimitri Demarcos right behind him, then Varun Choksi, who on the last lap has found a way past Grant Torkins. We see a spin there for, I think that was Vernon McClure again, actually, off the road, was it? At turn one. Yeah, trying to give room to Hutton McKenna.
Oh, touch!
Yeah, no, that was he was trying to give room to Hutton McKenna, but ended up losing it.
Yeah,
and both of them are off the road.
Broken right-hand steering arm on McKenna's car. Those classic McKenna Porsche colours. Now, can we deal with that with a local yellow, or will we finish? McKenna's car's not going anywhere.
No, probably going to have to bring out a caution. That's a dangerous place.
It looks like the second car involved there, Jeremy, has got moving again. And so, unless McKenna can limp that car further up the track, I don't know whether he does himself any favours, actually, if he moves it further forward, if I'm brutally honest. So McKenna in the 88 going nowhere. And the number 10, Vernon McClure, has got going again. Final lap of the first round of the season for Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Visit Cayman Islands. And Van Berlo has stretched his lead to over 6 seconds. Well, I'll tell you what, good lad. Hutton McKenna has managed to get that car moved out of the firing line. It's still on the right-hand side, but he's got it maybe about 25-30 yards further up the road, and that's kept us green for this final lap. Just 0.7 of a second at the line between Thompson and Dickinson for second and third. Estep hanging on gamely to fourth position. Trenton being caught by Lee Keane down to 0.7 of a second at the line, and they might have a bit of traffic as the leader works his way around the far side of this historic circuit, and he's right in amongst the back markers now. An astounding 43 cars started this morning in 3 different classes. Drivers of the category, not the cars. The cars are all identical, and the driver who has made the best of the 992 Carrera Cup car and the Michelin tyres is the Dutchman Kai van Berlo for Kelly Moss Road and Race. He picks his way through, well, mid-30s now, so he's lapped getting on for a dozen cars. Such as his pace and his consistency, as Jeremy pointed out earlier on, he has all the consistency of a finely made Swiss watch. The young Dutchman then stamping his authority on round one. He's not been challenged, not at all.
Well, he was in the early stages, certainly. Yeah,
nobody got alongside him, did he? He didn't really get alongside him, though.
Yeah.
So I think he's just driven a great race, Jeremy.
Absolutely, perfectly judged. I mean, he made sure not to push too hard, John. That's the point I was trying to make there in the early stages, and that's a great victory then for Kai van Berlo. Perfect way to start his season in pursuit of the championship. He came pretty close to winning last season.
Thompson and Dickinson about to come across the line, and Parker Thompson takes it by 0.8 of a second. He'll be second. Riley Dickinson holds on to third despite the lack of that bottom part of his front splitter. It's going to be Efren Castro in the 65, and a spin on the last lap over at the far side of the corner from the number 80.
It's Joe Still,
who'd been lapped. Here comes Castro, new colour scheme with the black and purple, and he'll take the Pro-Am class in 12th position. That's a solid result. Behind, Metney having a look down the inside in the silver car. Is he going to be able to hold on? Right behind him, the number 47 is pressing for positions. That's all battling for position in the same category there, and Metney holds on.
Yeah, for second place in Pro-Am. That was a great battle between that trio there. And Alan Metney just about gets the better of Justin Oakes after a race-long battle, and right behind him at the finish line there is Jeff Mosing.
And here comes our winners, and in the second of the two AM cars that came across line there, Joe Still was lapped, so that wasn't a car that was in the frame. It's the Drive Capital number 43, Mark Kwame for MDK, yes. I want to say MKD, of course, because MK is Mark's initials. MDK. So he opens his account with a victory in the AM category, and he'll be delighted by that. In second place in the AM class, that's going to be Bob Mueller for Octavio Tequila Racing, and
all the way from California.
And who's third then? That's Goldcrest. Jeff Myshak in third place in the AM category, just ahead of Rob Hanley for JDX Racing, and all of those AM drivers finishing within the top 30 as well.
Yeah, and Rob Hanley there, that's a good effort by him. That's another JDX car. He finished fourth in the class, but he had to start at the back of the pack because the car was underweight after qualifying yesterday, so started last and made his way up there into the fourth position in that 11 car AM class.
So cars just finishing their warming down lap. What a way to start the season for the Porsche Carrera Cup North America. Kai van Berlo taking the first victory, but great battles all the way down the field, as we have seen in the previous iterations and indeed in last year. The 992s looking splendid, 43 of them at Sebring International Raceway. Congratulations to Kelly Moss driver Kai van Berlo, who takes his class in the front of the field. Kelly Moss and Efren Castro for the Pro-Am, and in the end it was Mark Kwame who prevailed in the AM category.